Welcome to Strange Gossip. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Taylor, and this is going to be like your friend's take on the weird.
Because we're tired of real life problems and want to talk about spooky shit.
Yeah, welcome to episode 5.
This is impressive.
Crazy.
5? Like that's
5.
I'm excited.
We did a whole hand. Speaking of 5, because hopefully you've stuck around with us for 5 episodes. If you want to rate and follow us,
Yes.
Definitely recommend. Now is the time. I think we've established trust. If you want to rate us, please feel free. Hopefully it's also a 5. If not, constructive feedback would be nice in a DM.
Yeah,
you know?
help us get discovered. It really does make a difference when you rate and review us. Ideally 5 stars, but whatever. It really does just help us get discovered on the feed, and as an independent podcast, it's just so helpful. So we appreciate any help in that realm we can get.
Absolutely. And then follow us on all of our other socials. There's little snippets there too for funsies, but it's more interactive. So feel free to follow us.
Absolutely. There's so much behind the scenes stuff we add there, along with just like silly things that we do. Like Taylor just did like an incredible video with the green screen effect on TikTok. Shout out Taylor's great video. So just follow us there.
Yeah, follow us. I did that between meetings at work. And I was like, I look decent today. I'll just do it.
Cute. Honestly, the vibe. Feed the social beast.
Yeah, Anyway. So speaking of, any current topics that you have?
Well, Taylor, we got to get into the lights in the sky situation.
Yeah.
Do you want to start? Because I think the first thing was your video that you sent me October 19th.
Yes. Okay. So we've all went down a rabbit hole of UFOs recently. I saw one. My friend saw one. Catherine saw one. Everybody has seen a UFO within the last, I swear, week.
Yes.
But yeah, my first one was on October 19th. I was sitting on my couch and my husband was like, "What's that light?" Pretty typical of him. So he went outside to look at it. And we live really close to the air base here in San Diego. So we see a lot of jets flying in and out. So it's not uncommon. But this light, we'll show you the video, obviously. There's 2 things looking at it.
I wouldn't worry about anything like this.
But something's looking at it.
From above?
Yeah, they're watching it.
What the fuck is that?
Don't you think those other 2 are watching it, or do you think they're part of it?
I don't know.
That one's a plane, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know if the middle when it's right above the tree line.
Very strange light. Something was looking at it. I can't really tell what. I don't know. For me, I think that it was probably. I don't want to say it's a UFO because it's right over the airbase. So I'm sure it's just something that we don't know about. But it was interesting. The light above it to the left, that's a star. Actually, it's probably a planet. I think that's Jupiter, if I'm not mistaken. I remember looking it up one time. And then completely amnesia when I was taking the video. I'm like, is it another thing watching it? It's a planet. But on the other side, there's definitely a helicopter looking over what's going on. Just strange. I don't know what to make of it. My guess is it's probably something that we just don't know of, or it's just in the dark. But that was the first UFO. Watch it. Let me know what you think. It's really hard to make out. It just made me realize how terrible phone quality is at night.
It's so true. Because you think
it drives me insane.
It's going back to the Mothman episode when I was and this guy took photos, and you were like, heck yeah, cam up, let's go. And then when we reviewed them, they were so blurry.
You're like, what?
And you're like, no, I need more. But it really is true. Because we have the capability to film all the time on our phones, it's great on one hand, but a lot of the times things are super far away or at night and it's hard to see, and we just don't have the same capacities that we think we do.
It's so frustrating. And iPhone, every time it comes out, they're like, best camera. I'm like, okay, low light, please. Video.
Yes.
UFO, there should be a UFO mode.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? That'd be great.
So it'll track,
Apple,
track something, zoom in.
Up.
I need to sit on the team that develops the cameras or something.
I love that.
I don't know if I'm going to be that smart, but I have some great ideas, specifically on UFOs. But I think yours was the next UFO sighting. And that happened like how many days after I sent you mine?
So you sent me yours on the 19th, and then ours happened on the 21st. So right after each other, David and I were outside, like, you know, taking the dogs out for their nightly potty break. And we were looking up, and we live also near an airport. So we were like, oh, like, you know, we see things all the time in the sky. But this was so weird. Like, we'd never seen anything like this. And I'll play it over this part too. But basically, we saw what was like just a bunch of lights in kind of a dome formation, but it was only like one half. So it made like a curve like this, and then there were lights all on that curve.
Right.
And they were just randomly blinking at different times. And it all moved together as if it was like a large craft. And I've not really seen a lot of things like this. And I'm a pretty big like, I mean, you know, my father, like growing up, we would do so many different, like watching satellites in the sky, watching for meteors and like looking at all these different things. And David and I live near the airport. So like seeing airplanes and different crafts is, you know, every day we see things. But this was nothing like we'd ever seen. We haven't seen anything like it since. But this dome shape just was like up in the sky, and then it would slowly move, and then it moved down. And by the time it moved down, we saw a helicopter kind of go near it, but the helicopter's lights was, you know, really typical of the helicopter where you have like the blinking lights. Yeah, absolutely. Whereas this was nothing like we had ever seen before.
Weird.
So I would love an opinion, because I was like, what?
Well, okay.
When
you sent me the video, it's actually my friend Jessica's house, like hanging out. And I was like, girl, I don't see, like, I can't see shit. Like, I don't see anything.
Mode, I'm sorry.
And you're like, dude, you don't see the blinking lights? I'm like, no. So then you send me like the highlighted version of it. And I'm like, oh, I can see it a little bit now.
I'm a thorough
but that's
girl.
so crazy. Well, it's so hard. Like, videos are the worst, I swear, like, especially at night. I'm like, I know she's like probably not tripping on mushrooms right now, sending me like, there's lights in the sky. And I'm like, I don't.
It's so true.
I knew you had to have seen something. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. The timing of it, definitely bizarre.
I know.
Okay, but also with that, are you done with your UFO story, by the way?
So that was it. I mean, that was really the end of it. We were just like, and to your point too, we were just like trying to like review it on video, and we're like, this is not doing it justice at all. We're gonna look so insane when we share this. But like, I don't know, it was just such an odd, unexplainable experience. Weird.
Damn. Well, the same friend that I was sitting on her couch when I got that video, not even, when was this? Probably 2 days ago. I don't know if you remember, but I got a text from her. I think it was 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. Anyway, recently, after that, I had like, we were sitting at home eating, and she sent me like 3 videos, and she's like, dude, aliens. I'm like, what? And like, she is not the type. Like, I tell her UFO stories, she's like, okay, girl. But she lives right on the beach down in like Ocean Beach, San Diego. Like, literally, like her apartment, like her windows are the beach.
Gorge.
And she sends me these videos. We'll insert them. But there's like these red flashing lights, long like string of lights in the ocean. She's like, is it a submarine? I'm like, girl, it's like shallow over there. I don't think so. But yeah, I think we came to the conclusion of like, maybe it's lobster buoy lights or something. So like went on this big like deep dive into like what lobster buoy lights look like. And I couldn't find anything, but there was one listing on Amazon for like $40 for like these little red lights that you can attach to buoys. So like, we're going to write it off as like rock lobster. The lobsters come out dancing, you know, but I was like, don't ruin the vibe of me thinking that the aliens come out of the ocean.
It was so funny. You said that to me, and then I was like, David, I have the answer. Sky lobsters. That's what happened to us. It's the same.
Sky lobsters. The sky lobsters were like, we're going this week. Everybody out.
Because when you sent me your friend's video, I was like, it's blinking exactly like the sky. And then I was like, okay, well, the lobster, like all of the buoys having lights makes total sense. And like,
it does kind of make sense.
Lights also attract different like fish and sea creatures for like maybe different types of fishing. So that
Well,
all
I think
aligns.
they're more so like they're there so that they know where their buoys are.
Oh, well,
or like
for
so
sure,
people
that
don't
too.
run into like if it's a net or something, like people don't run into it. But it was just look at the video. It's very bizarre. Like I think everybody can agree, like, hey, like a little heads up would be nice. And there were also like no real boats nearby for the longest, they said. But then eventually one came and they were like, meh.
It's probably that, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we all saw unidentified objects.
Yes, it was the week of like spooky lights, like unidentified lights.
I forgot. So yesterday I was sitting here in my office, like working, and I don't know, this has to do probably with the air base again, but I don't know what it is. Like every few months, there'll be like little sonic booms in San Diego that'll just kind of like, it almost sounds like pressure just rattling the doors just a little bit. It's like, zzz, zzz. It's like bizarre. And like every time on Ring, like, or next door, people be like, did you feel it? Did you feel it? And like, there's no answer to what it is. It's really weird.
What's going on with that? Ooh.
Something, it is really strange living in San Diego. I will say you see a lot of things, but yeah, my whole house will rattle. Like I just ran, it's like weird. It feels like high pressure or something, but I guarantee you it's just something we don't know about that the US is playing around with, but
I believe
a warning would be nice.
Yeah, seriously. So you're not like, is this an earthquake? Is this my neighbor? Did a tree fall?
Honestly, you just sit there and you're just like, some weird government stuff.
I'm just gonna, and I'll just continue on with my day. That's so wild. Yeah. Ooh,
okay, but
spooky.
I have one more thing with Jess because the same day that you sent me the UFO video, we were sitting there. This is Halloween our time. So like I know we're in like November now on the podcast, but this was back in Halloween. So just to give you context of where we are in like the episodes, this was right after the sleep paralysis, or sorry, the Hat Man episode came out, and she hadn't watched it yet. But we were sitting at the table and she was like, dude, I have to talk to you. And I was like, what? And like, both of our husbands are sitting there and she's like, I had sleep paralysis last night. She's like, I kid you not. I'm like, did you watch the recent episode? She's like, not yet, but like I knew it was about the Hat Man. I knew you were going to like relate it back to sleep paralysis somehow. And she was like, I literally had it last night. I like woke up. I knew I was awake. It was like an out of body experience. I was looking at myself and my husband sleeping in bed, and I felt like an energy walk into the room, and I told it to get out. And I'm like, yes, girl. I told it to get out. And the second she said to get out, it pushed down on her chest and it felt like something was sitting on her, and she went into full sleep paralysis.
That's terrifying.
And this is like, Jessica is not like, she has not really, like, we haven't got into like paranormal UFO stuff too heavily. So like for this to happen to her like all around the same time, she's like, Taylor's making some weird shit in my house. It is weird.
That is
like the timing is weird.
Well, and I think one of the cool things about having this podcast and sharing our experiences, hopefully we're not channeling anything. Okay, that actually really goes into my story today.
I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. But it's just unreal how many people are sharing like their paranormal stories or their experiences with different things. It's just been so cool. So please continue to share your stories with us. We love to hear it. I think in the long term, we definitely want to have some people on here sharing their experiences. So
absolutely.
Well, do you have any other current topics for us today?
No, that's pretty much it. How about you?
One more, and it's a little less spooky. Ooh.
Is it what you went to yesterday?
Oh my gosh,
Are you gonna shout that out?
I should though.
Okay, well, first of all, aliens and like WWE, how are you not going to bring that up?
You're so right. I didn't even think about it, which was so funny because I was going to wear my shirt from it. So I went to Lucha Vavoom with two of my like dearest friends, Darren and Kelsey. We go every chance we can. We try and go to every single one. This was David and I's fourth Lucha Vavoom. And basically it is a burlesque and Mexican wrestling show combined. And
with aliens this time.
And this Halloween was Area 51 themed. So it was just kind of like bringing all these interests together. It was so fun. Yeah, like they had different pop-ups you can pose in front of. I'll put some of this in it. So there's like an Area 51 like alien abducting us. And then the wrestlers were dressing more so like different like creatures and like space things. And the burlesque, there was a burlesque dancer that like was dressed with like a space helmet and a little like ray gun. It was just so incredible. It's always amazing. Drew Carey was the host. He tends to host a lot of them. It's really wild. Like, it's just such a fun time in Los Angeles. I think David and I have been really fortunate to see a lot of incredible like live events, and this is by far the best one we've ever seen.
I
Like,
love it.
Hands down, just the most magical. My favorite wrestler is a wrestler called Jack Cartwheel, and he always cartwheels and then does like the most extreme stunts, and he posted a video I posted about him on his grid.
Ooh.
And I was like, I've made it. I've arrived. So we love Lucha Vavoom. But beyond Lucha Vavoom, I have a less spooky alien themed current topic, but just a fun our generation topic for you.
All right.
Have you
I'm excited.
ever heard of the term Zillennial?
No. But it reminds me of like sending money via Zelle for some reason.
That makes sense. Like a zillennial, someone.
Yeah.
No, a zillennial is a micro generation falling between millennial and Gen Z. So I had heard of like cuspers before, but I thought cuspers were like 1996, 1997, like those like couple years in between generations. But this is actually a sub-generation that's normally defined of 1992 to 2002.
Wait a minute.
And or sometimes even 1990 to 2000. So we completely fall into the zillennial.
Love that.
But there are a bunch of fun pop culture questions to see if you do really relate to being a zillennial. And I thought I would quiz you if that sounds good.
Okay, let's do it. Let's find out.
Also, shout out to Refinery29 and Alicia Lansome for this article, because through this
Alicia
brought like so many memories back of this era. So
I'm ready.
This is going to be like divided into did you or did you not experience certain things. So first we're going to start with did you experience. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is tapes. Cassette tapes.
Oh, yes. Obviously. Yes.
The Crazy Frog ringtone.
Why am I trying to remember this? But I feel like I have, but I don't remember it specifically.
You did.
Are you going to try to do
I was
it?
there. Yeah, I'm going
to.
It goes like ring ding 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 ring ding 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 wah wah wah.
No. Should I put my hands down?
Yeah,
I don't have that one.
I nailed that. You can't tell me I didn't.
You were pretty spot.
Wait for the beat to drop. Wait for the beat to drop.
That was it.
Oh,
Is there a beat?
Crazy Frog song.
Crazy Frog.
But did that
That just pissed my dog off. It's just 2 minutes long.
Just go to the middle just to get a sample.
Can you hear that?
No.
I'm getting played an ad. This is not the only song though, right? They just put it on it.
This was made for the little soundbite.
Oh, well then yes, I've heard this.
Of course you have. That's what I'm saying.
Why don't I remember the frog voice though? Well, I'm going to do like half a finger for that.
Okay, fair. Okay.
That's going to be hard to hold. Okay, my hand is cramping.
Okay, I'll go fast. Or stretch the fingers. Getting older is having cramps in weird places.
Literally arthritis.
Terrible.
I don't have arthritis.
So Crazy Frog ringtone. So that used to be on a commercial that would play all the time. It'd be like, text this number to get this ringtone for your phone. It's very that.
Okay.
The next one. Now CDs.
Yeah, 1,000% loved my Now CDs.
The best. Now that's what I call music. The best.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a bop.
The next one. Soldier Boy's Crank That Dance.
That happened at my weddings.
So good.
I was like, ooh, and my cousin did it to me. I was like, girl, we're past it, but we'll do it.
Live. I love that. Okay, the next one. Watching Harry Potter in theaters.
Oh my God, I don't remember. Did I see it in theaters? Probably
in the sense, I remember definitely seeing it in theaters, and I remember in the scene where Cedric Diggory dies. Spoiler, sorry.
Everybody knows. Come on, girl.
you would hope I don't get canceled for ruining Harry Potter movie. But I remember having a panic attack during the Harry Potter Goblet of Fire in theaters, and I had to leave and like bring myself together to go
Wait,
back
I
in.
remember. Okay, that's sad.
I know you were probably there. I was so
I was
overwhelmed.
probably there, like, girl. But you had like panic attacks back then.
Yeah,
though,
tons
to
of
be fair.
anxiety.
But now I have the anxiety. But anyway, and I remember like when I got the anxiety, I was like, I remember Catherine went through this, and so it's just full circle moment. But anyway, I did remember seeing the recent Harry Potter back in college in theater. So yes, I have seen it. But I don't know if that's what it's asking.
It's asking
like the really
if you
long
remember
ones?
it in childhood. Like, do you remember going to seeing Harry Potter
No,
in childhood?
I don't remember it in childhood, but I have seen a Harry Potter movie in theater. So I don't know. I'm going to go like maybe another half.
Okay. We'll make that
Okay.
to a full finger. And then the last one is LimeWire.
Yes. Oh my God. Downloaded everything off LimeWire.
100%. It's the
So I got what? 4 of the...
1,
How
2,
many?
3, 4, 5. Because you had 2 halves that made one.
Okay. Yeah. 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 That's true.
All right. So
You're good.
now is
I'm
the
a cusper.
category of what you didn't experience. So put a
Okay.
finger down if you didn't experience it. Okay.
Okay.
Nokia 3310 phones.
I'm going to have to look that up. Oh, I did.
Okay. So keep
Okay.
keep those up.
Okay.
Phone charms.
I did.
I did too.
Well, first of all, the first phone, definitely superior snake playing on that. And phone
So
charms
true.
are absolutely a thing on the little razors. So yes.
Beautiful too. Like I just remember feeling so fancy, and I would make my charms hang out of my pocket. So like the razor
Yep.
would go in, and then
Oh,
you would
yeah.
hang it out of your pocket.
It's like a butt charm.
It
Yeah.
really was. That's truly
It was.
what it was. All right. The next one is blue eyeshadow.
Yeah, been there.
Okay. The OC and Dawson's Creek.
Yes.
Furbies.
Furbies freak me out. Furbies should be a whole episode. But yes.
Oh, I loved Furbies. I loved them.
They were so cute. I nerved them.
They were so cute. Terrifying when they would talk to you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, when they're in your closet and they're like, nee.
It's so true. And then the last one is The Simple Life.
I remember The Simple Life too. So I think I'm all up on this one.
So for that, because you're all up, that means you're probably more millennial than zillennial.
The typical millennial.
I think because we would be like the oldest of the zillennials. I think we're just
Yeah.
more millennials. Like personally, I think I
Yeah.
relate more millennial than zillennial.
I think so too.
But I have to end this by telling you what just sold on the Urban Outfitters website. You ready?
A Tamagotchi.
I'm going to share my screen.
For $200?
I know.
Dude, I should have saved all of my stuff.
I know. Is that
Wait, how
not
does it even,
so
how do they even make
crazy?
it work nowadays? Does it have like Wi-Fi on it? It's
No.
probably like, no, it's like a legit old one.
It's an old one. I think they're like they're selling them.
Is Urban Outfitters now eBay or?
I guess they do it. I think they do like third party different sellings, like through different people. But how
Interesting.
crazy is that?
Wow,
iPods
that's a flashback.
are the new VHSs, which were the new records. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
100%.
Like we're just
Like,
coming
oh, what
back.
do you mean? I get to like put like my favorite songs on a little device and like listen to them on a loop. I don't know why. Maybe this is because I'm a millennial, but like on my Spotify, that's literally how I use Spotify. Like I have liked music and I just play my liked playlist every single fucking time.
Oh, it's the
And
best.
it's probably because I'm such an old school iPod user that it's the same music. Or even back to like the CD players. You put the same CD in every single time.
so clutch.
So anyway.
Oh, I
yeah.
miss the portable CD play. A little like
I had the cutest one that was like pink and it had little bubbles on it. Oh my God. So cute.
I remember being like very like angsty in my feelings in like 7th or 8th grade, and I had my little CD player, and it was like like a turquoise aqua. It was like
Cute.
it was silver, but then it had like bubble or like see-through accents.
See,
of
yep.
that like turquoise. And I had Jesse McCartney's Beautiful Soul album, whatever that was called, and I would just play that, and I would like stick my feet into like the pool because I lived up at like that condo
my
complex,
God.
and I would
Yeah.
just be like, Jesse McCartney just loves me for my soul. It's fine that I'm chubby.
First of all, you weren't chubby.
So
but
dramatic. Oh my gosh.
so ridiculous. I always played the Now CDs or Nelly.
I mean, that was
Nelly
the
was my first
best.
CD. My mom was pissed. She was like, dude, because my dad gave it to me. And she was like, how could you give our daughter that? It says explicit. I'm like, Mom, get over it.
Oh my gosh. But Nelly was
Anyway.
everything. Hot in Here. Oh, so good.
I know.
But that's
She's tripping.
my little throwback for you on this fine
Thank you.
record
That was
day.
fun.
Yay! Cute.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's get into superstitions because they're probably just as old as we are at this.
Oh, perfect roast.
Oh, fun. Anyway, I wore my shirt. It's my cat being abducted by a UFO. I figured it'd be very fitting today, just given the UFOs, and then I'm going to cover black cats.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, so I figured superstitions, why not go with one? Because obviously we got into the, I'm a cat whisperer, if you will. I had to cover the black cats.
Every time I think about it, and I think this will be true for the rest of my life, I will laugh and love it. It's the best moment ever. I don't know if we can ever top that on the
should
podcast.
be the ringtone. I think that should be the ringtone. The new
Text
frog
now.
ringtone, move over.
Text 337 to get Taylor's cat meows.
Honestly, we should sell them.
I love
like
it.
in the merch store, we'll just sell the soundbite. Actually, people can just take
Digital
it off of like
download.
Spotify. Just go ahead and like,
Not the
I
same.
implore you, take it.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh my God.
It's a perfect topic.
Anyway. Yep. Yeah. So black cats and superstitions in general. So something I've noticed, we're going to get serious here, by the way. Something I've noticed with superstitions is a lot of them are related back to like religion.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's been like a religious thing that like they were trying to like, it's just bizarre. So like superstitions to me, after doing a lot of research, because like, I'll be honest, I didn't really look into superstitions before this, but they're kind of like easier to continue on the process of avoiding them than just like looking in further. Like it's like a human nature to like, well, it takes so little of my time to just avoid this.
Mm-hmm.
Like cracks in the sidewalk. Like I'm not going to like, if I can avoid stepping on a crack, I want to avoid stepping on just because you never know, even though it's like such an old random thing that came up. But anyway,
True.
it's sad because the little black cats are less adopted in shelters. They're more often put down. Like it's a whole thing that's affecting the black cat community, and I'm not here for it. So I wanted to cover it today.
Oh.
I know. Poor babies. But yeah, so as early as the 13th century, the Catholic Church linked like black cats to Satan. Ma'am. But an official church document called the Vox in Rama was issued by Pope George. I don't know how to read Roman numerals, IX. Do you know what that is?
9?
Sure.
Or is that 4?
No, that's
I
not
think
4.
X is 10, and I think one before X is 9.
Okay, we'll do it. It was issued by Pope George the 9th on June 13th, 1233. He says cats were declared an incarnation of Satan. And so then began the black cat hatred. So rude. But they became linked to witches as well because the witch hunts were taking place. And so, they got linked, unfortunately, which, I mean, unfortunately, maybe fortunately. I don't know. I kind of like it. But side note on that, remember the freaking meme I sent you about the witches and their brooms? And like why we see witches depicted with brooms all the time.
Is it sexual?
It might be.
Then yes.
Okay, so women
good for
back in this
them.
day and age, I'm sorry, they did not have fun little stores. They didn't have like online marketplaces where they can get fun little toys for the girlies. So what did they use? Brooms.
Good for them. You got to make it work somehow.
And so the church obviously was like, no. And so they now depict witches as riding brooms when really they were just like riding them in other ways.
That's so hilarious.
Anyway, back in the day, they would say
man.
cats, like women, were accused of witchcraft, tended to exhibit a healthy disrespect of authority, and therefore they must be evil. Which I think is fucking hilarious. Because cats really do be disrespecting authority.
But the fact that black cats specifically, like, they were like, okay, we can't get rid of all cats. Let's just, like, this one looks scary.
The black ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I mean, the church just really hated down-to-earth girls that wanted to get off in their cats.
They would hate modern society, okay?
Honestly, whatever. They would, well,
they'd be overwhelmed.
That's a whole nother story. But anyway.
We're pro-women, having a good time, and having cats, okay?
And cats. So during the Middle Ages, when the bubonic plague was happening, there was still a steady link of black cats to evil that led to the thought that they were the ones spreading the plague. So they would try to kill them off. Well, guess what, honey? That backfired because it's actually the rodents that were spreading the plague, and the cats obviously hunted the rodents. And if you kill the cats, what do you get? More bubonic plague. Karma, you know what I mean? Let the cats live. So anyway, the origin of like a black cat crossing your path, though, and that superstition came from medieval Europe, where it was believed that black cats were witches or devils in different forms. Like they figured that like the devil and witches could take a form of a cat. And so if it crossed your path, you had a witch after you, or even worse, the devil. You were marked. It was a bad omen.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but it's worth noting in other countries like Japan and Egypt, they actually honor black cats and think they're a good omen. So folklore about black cats in general, both good and bad. Dreaming of one is considered lucky. Aww. Finding a white hair on one is lucky. Seeing one from behind is a bad omen. And then one on the porch brings prosperity. When one walks towards you, it's good luck. If it walks away, it's bad luck.
Wow.
Sounds to me like they're just cats. And I'll take one.
That's interesting, though, because, like, I've only associated black cats to all, like, it's all bad. Like, if you see one, it's bad luck. If it crosses your path, it's bad luck. Like, it is kind of all bad. And, like, I'm so superstitious. So, like, if I see one that's crossed, like, my path, I'll turn around and walk. Like, if I'm walking, like, in my neighborhood, I know. I'm just weird like that. I'll be real.
Hey, but, like I said, most people do. But okay, go ahead.
But it is, like, so true that, like, putting together this episode made me realize, like, why do I do this? Like,
right?
So strange. But when I walk around, like, the neighborhood, or if, like, I'm, like, jogging or something, if I see a cat in my path, I'll, like, take a detour. It's so strange. Don't know why.
See, I am so opposite. I'll be like, cat.
Specifically a black cat. If I see a cat, I'm like, less.
Girl,
that's
black
terrible.
cats, any cats. So
the next time I'll go up next time.
You know how much they want to be pet. They probably don't get pet as often. They're probably like, why is everybody scared of me?
Poor babies.
I don't know. I have a lot of feelings for the black cats. And I actually have a lot of black cats in my life. So my dad has he's a black cat named Salem. Oh. She's the sweetest. She kind of looks like Toothless. Like she has like really like yellow eyes, like golden eyes, and she's super black. And then Jess actually has Benny and Zeus, which are black tuxedo cats, but they're so cute. Oh. They're little chunkies. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of drawn to black cats in an opposite way because I'm like, ooh, it's like kind of the occult. Like it's kind of cool that they're associated with witches and Halloween and like they're spooky. And I kind of like that about them. Oh, I'm saying this as I have a white cat. I don't know if she's back here. No, she's not. She's pissed that I'm talking about black cats. But I'll like definitely be like attracted to them. Like I was in Barnes and Noble and I came across a Stephen King book and it had a black cat on it. And it was like sitting on the Halloween table or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I want to buy that. And then I'm like holding it. And then I actually read the back of it. And it's like, this is a bunch of novellas. And I'm like,
yeah,
I wanted to buy exciting. The black cat book. But I may just have to read the books in the series that have the novellas so that I can read them. But
yeah,
actually, I think it might just be short stories. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But I don't know. I love a good black cat. Tit, she's right there. Season. Maybe when you pass away, we get a black cat. It's terrible. But actually, a black cat might work out well for me just because I wear a lot of black. Ooh. And like the fur would disappear.
So true. Sorry, Tit. Go in the other
Sorry,
room.
T. She's white. She's like, the fuck?
She's like, excuse me.
She's like, you see me on your stuff all the time. It's like, what are you saying?
That's hilarious.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I was trying to find like a scary story of like a black cat, like on Reddit or a creepypasta. And like most of them seemed fake. Like there were some that were like, oh, like I adopted this black cat because it got hit by a car and it broke its leg. And then my boyfriend broke his leg like a couple days later. And then the cat was like shitting in the bed, like crazy stuff. And I was like, I think that's just the cat not liking your boyfriend, but...
Which
I had a hard time finding it. Yeah. Edgar Allan Poe, I guess, wrote something about a black cat and like murder, but I don't believe it. Okay. It's rude.
Ooh, that is
It's
rude.
propaganda against the black cats, and I'm not here for it. So we're not going to bring it up. I definitely like implore people to not believe the superstition about black cats. Those, like I said in the beginning, those poor babies like sit in those shelters way too long just because they're black.
That's so terrible. Oh, the friends that I went to Lucha Vivum yesterday with, they adopted 2 black cats. So I'll have to like give them a little extra props for doing that. I had no idea that it makes complete sense that it would affect culturally, but that's just so heartbreaking. But like I played a part in it. If I see one walking down the street, that's the one. I don't avoid them if they're pets, but if I see one walking down the street, my brain kind of just like gets weird about it.
Yeah.
Which is so ridiculous. And
that's with like every superstition though. It's like so weird.
Yeah, we're just so...
Why is that?
Getting into the one that I am doing today, I was like, what? It's so...
Dude.
You just think it, and I think as a kid, you kind of make up these rules. Yes.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like just so ingrained in you that you don't take a second look at these things. So that's why it's so fun to dive into these topics. I love
Agreed. Yeah. Definitely interesting. On that topic, hey, what are you pissed off about superstitions? What are you doing? Okay. So, but on the topic of like superstitions and like that kind of whole thing, when we were in our honeymoon and we went to Xcaret in Mexico, we went to this park called Excenses, which is like a place where like when you go, it's supposed to like obviously mess with your senses, like it said. When you first walk into the park, it forces you to walk under a massive ladder, and it just completely like alters like it's like, oh, well, like stuff's going to be done to you and get over it. But it does. It's like so interesting. I had a really crazy experience there that I might cover in a later pod, but it was basically like, it was like heightened sensory overload, but they took away your sight. For like 10 minutes, I was walking through this tunnel with like no vision, just all my other senses going off. It was traumatic. I felt like I survived something when I came out, so it was definitely worth it. If anyone's ever been to Xcaret, you gotta let me know if you've been through, I forget what they call it, but it was like some type of, it almost felt like a haunted house. When you walk in, you're just completely blind. But a sensitarium or something. I don't know. But anyway, they made you walk through a big ladder, and I was like, well, cool.
I would have turned around. I'm also not into ladders.
I'm legit not kidding you. I was looking at it. I'm like, I wonder if I could climb over it.
Just up one.
But that's how ingrained this stuff is.
True.
Like, oh, I'm going to have bad luck if I do that. And then I'm about to go into some crazy place. Like, I'm going to try to avoid it. You can't.
But that is kind of like why I'm so excited that's probably going to be another topic on the pod, will be ladders and all these things, because we're just so used to doing it, and then we get to kind of like gain a little power back by
not believing.
Yes, and hopefully sharing this with people too, because it is really funny when you like sit back and go like, oh, why do I do this? Like, what is the point of this? And like, where does it stem from? Because sometimes a lot of like superstitions, like to your point with the black cats, like are ingrained in like practices and things that put women down in the past. And like,
it's true.
I definitely think of myself as a feminist. Like, I'm very like pro equality and like making sure women have rights. And I like get so frustrated when I'll learn a new thing that I still do that I didn't even realize was like rooted in things like that. So it's just like insane.
It's definitely interesting.
Insane. Oh, okay. Well, that was great.
All right.
Taylor.
Well, tell me about your topic. I'm excited to hear about it.
Okay. So very similarly, I wanted to kind of like dive into something that I don't know, superstitions in general. I'm a very superstitious person, like a little bit about everything. Like I also don't walk under ladders. Like there's just so many things. Like I'll throw salt over my shoulder if I spill it. Like again, no clue why I do it. I'm just so ingrained to do it. But one of my biggest things that I do is knock on wood. I always knock on wood. Like even if it's just like a comfort thing to make me feel like it'll stop like me from spiraling, I'll do it.
100%.
It's definitely become a practice of like, hey, you're not in control of things. Like don't let yourself spiral. Just like knock on wood, be done is kind of a
I actually
for
like
me.
force other people to do it too. Like if they say something I don't like, I'm like, knock on wood right now.
At least my husband. Poor
Actually,
David.
like, okay, speaking of that, I don't want to like derail you too much, but like I straight up got in an argument about knocking on wood a couple of months ago. My mom came to town and we were in the car, like picking them up from the airport, my mom and my stepdad. And my husband made the craziest comment. He's like, my mom was like, well, I don't really see what could go wrong with this trip. Like, I'm so excited. And he's like, well, we could all get food poisoning. I'm like, knock on wood right now. He's like, there is no wood. I'm like, knock on your fucking head.
It's so
and my
true.
mom was like, whoa, are you guys okay? And I'm like, just knock on wood, damn it.
Don't make this a thing. Oh my gosh, it's so
Right?
true though. But like I'm the same way. Like I get like anxiety, like
Yes.
because you just don't want to jinx it. You know what I mean? So
Like if you could get rid of it, do it.
do it. Exactly.
Like it's such an easy, like,
in the same way, but it's so silly. So I'm so excited to tell you about it.
Okay, let's hear.
So first, I came across a TikTok warning people why not to knock on wood ever again. So in this TikTok by Sebastian K22, he explains that knocking on wood is actually a call to demonic spirits to do your bidding. He references a priest that goes on to explain how the practice is of the occult and that by knocking on wood, you are calling on spirits that live in trees to come to your aid. So the TikTok was referring to the beliefs of the Celts, which were tribes in Central Europe that started to evolve Celtic culture around 1200 BC. Their belief was that spirits lived in trees, and by knocking on wood, you'd awaken them to call on their protection, but also as a way of showing gratitude for a stroke of good luck.
I like that better.
Me too. A little less demonic and like a little bit more grateful.
Yeah. And it like kind of gives like life to the little trees. I love that.
Yeah. Well, so there's also a theory that people knocked on wood to chase away evil spirits that would be listening in on your conversations, waiting for you to boast about your luck or successes so they could knock you down a peg. So,
interesting.
So by knocking on wood, you're essentially eliminating spiritual eavesdroppers.
Okay. All right.
And like
I'm here for that.
I love this explanation. It feels very on brand for us and our love of gossip.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
Like maybe we should make these petty spirits our mascots. It just feels
Like-
very on brand.
No listening, honey.
You're like,
Oh my God.
excuse me, get out of here.
No. You weren't invited to the circle.
This is a private conversation.
Oh my God.
Tree spirits are sounding a little bit familiar because they also are referred to as fairies.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so the ancient race of fairies in the Celtic culture, the Tuatha De Danann, lived as gods, monsters, and even seen at times as demons. In the
Gods,
lore,
monsters?
gods, monsters, and demons.
I mean, who do they report to? I'm sorry. There's like,
Good question.
I don't know.
In the lore, the Tuatha De Danann were seen as fallen angels who were not good enough to be saved or bad enough to be lost.
Oh, they're in the ether. Okay.
Their morals were simple. If you're good, they'll be good to you. If you're bad, well, then you're on their hit list. There's a story of a king who came across an elder of the Tuatha De Danann and was envious of his powers. Instead of showing kindness, he made it his mission to have him killed. His guards captured the elder, showing him no mercy, and immediately sentenced him to death. After he was hung and the king was satisfied, he reappeared. In the place of his body, someone the king loved. This happened a couple of times. They'd trap him, sentence him to death, and
I'm
after
sorry. dude didn't figure it out the first time that maybe we shouldn't do that again?
The king was stubborn and frustrated, clearly.
All right.
So they'd trap him, sentence him to death, and after being hung, he'd reappear with someone the king loved in his place. The king finally apologized and showed kindness to the elder, and all was forgiven.
Yeah, sorry. I showed kindness after hanging you 3 times. Like, I'm sure that went over well.
He's like, yeah, for real. He's like, sure, we could be friends, but...
Listen, I'm so sorry. Like, I really didn't mean it the first time, the second time, the third time. You definitely did not mean it.
That's so true. Didn't mean to kill you a couple times.
Just admit defeat, buddy. Like, just be real about it. Be like, look, obviously, I'm not going to be able to kill you.
Seriously.
Do I like you? Not really, but go live your life. Damn.
Hilarious. Seriously. He's like, well, I can't. If you can't beat him, join him is really the vibe at a certain
For real.
point.
Yeah.
So to this day, people believe the descendants of the Tuatha De Danann still exist, specifically in Ireland, living in the other world, but still interacting with humans of our world. They apparently make themselves known to people during big transitions in life, like pregnant women or children in puberty. There are stories of these fairies kidnapping people and replacing them with changelings, which is basically sickly fairies with shape-shifting powers to look more human. The humans are then brought back to the other world to work for the fairies.
They did not accept that apology, clearly. There's like a grudge of all grudges.
So true.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Well, so it's not just Celtic culture that has knocking on wood as their superstition.
Yeah.
You know, you can find this in almost every country around the world. Croatia, Brazil, Denmark, Egypt, Italy, Spain, you name it. In South Korea, for example, when you need to take back what you've said, you grab wood and make a spitting sound, basically admitting that you need to be more careful with your words.
I hate spit, so that kind of grosses me out. But
Fair.
like, whatever you need to do.
Truly. So Christians have linked knocking on wood to the wood of the cross from Christ's crucifixion.
Oh. I can see it.
And then the Jewish origin of knocking on wood was done to ensure a positive outcome and as a way to prevent envy, also known as the evil eye, as they believe envy can harm other people. One site even claims that the superstition has roots during the Spanish Inquisition. Secret codes were devised to allow Jews entry into synagogues, which happened to be made of wood, which saved lives.
That's nice.
Yeah. And so regardless of any origin, it's safe to say, knock on wood, that this superstition has made it to the mainstream and continues to be a source of good luck for all.
I'm going to continue to do it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Even if it's summoning some spirits. Hopefully they can like reverse whatever I just said that I need to knock on wood for.
Well, as long as you have good intentions, you should be good. So, but that's it. That's knocking on wood.
Cool. Okay, well, I don't feel bad about yelling at my husband to knock on wood.
Yeah. Overall, like, I think because it's become so mainstream, if you will, and like so many cultures do it, it really can be, if it brings you good luck and it helps you find peace in certain ways, it's kind of like, why not? You know?
Well, that's like basically like what we were talking about with the crystals. Like if it's going to help you manifest something, like if it truly makes you feel better, especially just not with like knock on wood in particular, but like any superstition, like, oh, like I have lucky, I don't know, underwear or something. If it's going to make you feel better to wear them and you think you're going to perform better, do something better, why not?
So
it's probably
true.
the same premise of like, you actually harness the power. And so if you need something to make you feel like that's working, then by all means do it. It's probably like the least like path, like just there's not going to be a lot of resistance there. They're usually small things. So why not do it?
For sure. I completely agree. Like if it brings you a little bit of peace and it reminds you of like your intentions and your goals, why not?
Exactly. But not the cats.
But not the cats.
Sorry.
Adopt the cats.
Adopt the cats. Break that cycle. Everything else, do you?
What
Actually, I don't know about that yet. I haven't looked into all of them, but some of them.
So true. As of for today, knock on wood and adopt all the cats. That's the lesson.
Exactly.
Do you have any other lessons you think you're going to take away from today?
Honestly, that was probably the biggest one. I guess the lesson is I am truly a millennial. And I'll rock with it, okay?
Yes.
I'll take it. It's fine. I was kind of aware.
So
You know?
true. And if you have an
Yeah.
iPod, save it and be ready to sell it on eBay.
Dude. Or Urban Outfitters, like
Seriously.
damn.
Oh my goodness.
That's classic.
Well, thanks
I love it.
everybody.
Oh yeah, well, thanks for like meeting with us. I want you to leave a note in the description. What do you think of the UFO videos?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Keep us posted what you think happened to us. What we
And
saw.
also, if you've seen lobster buoy lights,
yeah, let us
know. Because like what? I've never heard that in my life.
So
Anyway.
interesting. I mean, buoy lights make sense. But in the
It does make
sky,
sense.
less sense.
Less senses.
All right. Well, thank you guys
Oh
so
my
much for
God.
listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.